The sun of Zephora rose slowly over the floating crystal towers, painting the skies in shades of violet and gold. The air shimmered with the soft hum of energy from the city's power cores, and the citizens moved through streets that seemed suspended in the sky, their feet gliding on light rails. Today, however, the city was restless. Rumors had spread like wildfire. King Thaler, the ruler of Zephora, had issued a decree that stunned everyone. "My daughters must form bonds with a human," the announcement had declared, delivered through the royal crystal network that connected every home, garden, and tower. The words repeated in citizens' minds, a mix of shock and curiosity dancing in their expressions. Humans were known in the galactic community, but they were still outsiders, often underestimated, and many had never seen one up close. In the royal palace, perched high above the city, King Thalor sat on his throne of swirling light. His eyes were steady and commanding, yet behind them lay the flicker of hope. He had watched humans from afar for years, noting their courage, their ingenuity, and their capacity for adaptation. Unlike many alien species, humans could improvise in ways no artificial intelligence or advanced algorithm could predict. The king turned his gaze to his daughters. Princess Lyra, the eldest, stood tall and confident, her bright green eyes reflecting both curiosity and skepticism. Princess Celine, quiet and thoughtful, adjusted the folds of her flowing gown, her mind already calculating possibilities. And Princess Vanya, youngest of the three, crossed her arms defiantly, her expression a mixture of anger and disbelief. "This is absurd," Vanya said, her voice echoing in the crystal hall. "You cannot force us to bond with beings from another world." King Thalor raised a hand, his tone calm but firm. "I am not forcing you. I am offering you an opportunity. Humans possess qualities we admire: courage, creativity, and adaptability. These qualities, combined with our knowledge, can make Zephora stronger. You are free to accept or refuse, but I ask that you at least meet the human first." The day arrived when the human envoy would arrive. The citizens gathered along the floating pathways and bridges, watching the sky as a sleek silver ship descended, its hull reflecting the morning light. The crowd murmured in awe. No one had seen a human ship so close before. Captain Elias Ward stepped out of the vessel, tall and steady, his uniform simple but neat, adorned only with medals earned through merit. His eyes scanned the crowd, calm but alert. There was something different about him, an aura of confidence, a subtle strength that came from surviving countless challenges. He did not look like an intruder. He looked like someone ready to face the impossible. The princesses were brought to the landing platform to greet him. Lyra approached first, her steps confident. "You are human," she said simply, as if stating a fact that needed no discussion. "I am," Elias replied, offering a respectful nod. "And I am here to understand your world and your people." Celine stepped forward next. Her eyes studied him carefully. "Do you know why you have been brought here?" she asked. Elias nodded. "Your king believes humans can offer qualities your civilization admires. Courage, quick thinking, resilience. I am here to demonstrate those qualities, if that is what you wish." Vanya remained silent, her gaze sharp. She did not trust him, and she did not trust her father's decision. To her, humans were unpredictable, reckless, and far too independent for the careful order of Zephora. The first challenge was a test of intellect and problem-solving. The princesses led Elias to the Hall of Reflection, a vast chamber filled with shifting holographic patterns. The patterns formed puzzles, some of which required both logic and creativity to solve. Many aliens struggled with these challenges because their minds were trained for precision, not improvisation. Elias studied the patterns carefully, then stepped forward. Instead of following the predictable paths, he combined elements of the patterns in ways no alien would have considered, creating solutions that solved multiple puzzles at once. Lyra watched, impressed, her eyes widening as the solutions emerged before her. Celine's mind raced, analyzing every step, secretly admiring his ingenuity. Vanya, however, remained unconvinced. "You are clever," she admitted, her voice tight. "But cleverness does not make one worthy. Strength and courage are equally important. The next test would prove that." The princesses led Elias to the edge of the sky, a platform that floated high above the city. Below, the city shimmered like a river of light. On the platform, a small drone obstacle course awaited, designed to test reflexes and bravery. Elias accepted the challenge without hesitation. He leaped, dodged, and maneuvered through the drones with a combination of human intuition and quick reflexes. When he finished, sweat glistened on his brow, and the princesses exchanged glances. Lyra clapped softly, impressed. Celine's eyes shone with admiration. Even Vanya's lips twitched, a hint of reluctant acknowledgement. Just as the trials seemed to conclude, a sudden alarm blared through the city. A faction of noble aliens opposed to the king's decree had triggered a security breach in the palace gardens, hoping to embarrass the king and discredit the humans. The floating gardens were lush and serene, filled with hovering plants and cascading waterfalls of liquid light. But now chaos spread among the delicate structures. Without hesitation, Elias sprang into action. Using his knowledge of physics and quick improvisation, he guided the princesses to safety, navigating traps and unstable walkways. He coordinated with palace security, creating temporary barriers and rerouting the opposing factions' attempts to destabilize the area. Vanya observed everything from a distance, her anger slowly transforming into something more complex. She could not deny that the humans' quick thinking and courage had saved lives, yet her pride and desire for independence kept her from expressing gratitude. Once the situation was under control, the princesses gathered around Elias. Lyra smiled brightly. "You were incredible. I did not expect humans to act so decisively." Celine nodded. "Your mind works differently from ours. It is refreshing." Vanya's gaze met his, sharp and questioning. "You act with courage," she said slowly. "But your ways are strange. I do not yet know if you belong among us." Elias met her eyes calmly. "I do not wish to force myself into your world, princess. I wish only to show that humans can be trusted, and that together, we can achieve more than either of our kinds could alone." The day ended with the princesses returning to the palace, each lost in thought. King Thalor watched them silently, a mixture of pride and worry in his expression. He knew the path ahead would not be easy. Some of his daughters would accept humans willingly, but others would resist. The future of Xiphora and the success of this unprecedented alliance depended on courage, understanding, and the ability to bridge worlds. As night fell, the city of Xiphora sparkled under twin moons. Elias stood on the balcony of his temporary quarters, looking out at the floating towers. He knew the challenges were just beginning. There would be political intrigue, tests of loyalty, and perhaps even threats from beyond Xiphora. Yet he also knew that humans had a gift unlike any other in the galaxy, the ability to adapt, to inspire and to rise to any challenge. And somewhere within the palace, Vanya's mind churned with questions she could not yet answer. Could a human truly belong among her people? Could she trust someone so different from herself? The answer would come in time, but for now the seeds of change had been planted. The human had arrived, the princesses had seen his courage, and the city of Xiphora was about to witness an alliance unlike any it had ever known. High above the city, the twin moons reflected in the crystal towers, casting long shadows. In those shadows, whispers of resistance, curiosity, and hope intertwined. Tomorrow, the real tests would begin, and Elias Ward, the human, would need every ounce of ingenuity and courage to navigate the world of Xiphora and the hearts of its princesses. And somewhere deep inside, he felt a spark of excitement. Humans were known for overcoming impossible. The morning sun of Xiphora bathed the crystal towers in soft light, and the city hummed with energy. Despite the beauty of the floating gardens and streets, tension lingered in the air. The previous day's trials had left the citizens impressed, with Captain Elias Ward, the human envoy, but whispers of doubt and rebellion still circulated. Some nobles and citizens questioned the king's decree, while others marveled at the courage and ingenuity of the human who had saved lives in the palace gardens. Inside the royal palace, the three princesses prepared for the day's challenges. Lyra, still bright-eyed and curious, practiced maneuvers with the city's holographic simulations, eager to see more of Elias's skills. Celine studied her notes on human behavior, fascinated by how different Elias's thinking was from that of even the most brilliant alien minds. Vanya, however, paced silently in her chamber, a storm of resistance and curiosity brewing inside her. She refused to admit it, but the human had intrigued her in a way few others ever could. King Thalor called a council in the main hall, a space filled with glowing crystals and hovering light panels that displayed the city and the surrounding skies. The hall was large enough to hold hundreds, but today only the princesses, Elias, and a few trusted advisors were present. The king's gaze swept over them, steady and commanding. "Today the trials continue," he announced. "The purpose is not to test strength alone, but heart, judgment, and the ability to work with others. These qualities will determine whether humans and our people can form bonds that last for generations." Elias nodded. "I am ready," he said simply, his calm presence drawing attention. Even Vanya could not look away. The first trial was a test of strategy. The princesses led Elias to a simulation arena, a massive space filled with holographic landscapes that could mimic any environment in the galaxy. The challenge was to protect a virtual city from an attacking force. Many alien strategists relied on rigid calculations, but Elias approached the problem differently. He observed the terrain, predicted the enemy's moves, and devised creative solutions that no one had considered. Lyra watched him move through the simulation, her admiration growing. "He adapts so quickly," she whispered to Celine. "It's like he can see possibilities we cannot." Celine nodded, impressed. Humans are unpredictable, but that is their strength. They can find solutions in situations where logic alone fails. Vanya, however, remained critical. Predictable or not, it is still just a simulation. Courage and action in the real world matter more. The real test came sooner than anyone expected. A communication alert sounded through the arena. A rival alien species, the Krillians, had launched a sudden attack on the outskirts of Zyphera. Their ships streaked through the skies, targeting energy hubs and civilian areas. Panic spread through the city as sirens blared and citizens scrambled for safety. King Thalor's advisors moved to coordinate defenses, but Elias stepped forward. "I can help," he said. "My experience with tactics and rapid decision-making may save lives before reinforcements arrive." Vanya's eyes narrowed. She did not want to rely on a human, yet every instinct inside her told her to pay attention. Elias directed teams, using human improvisation and quick judgment to redirect traffic, shield key energy nodes, and organize defense squads. He moved among both humans and aliens, earning trust not through authority but through action. The princesses followed closely. Lyra helped communicate with the citizens, calming them and providing instructions, while Selena monitored energy flows and predicted areas most at risk. Vanya, though reluctant, observed Elias's decisions with growing respect. His methods were different, but they worked. By nightfall, the attack was repelled. Zyphora had suffered minor damages, but the city remained intact. The citizens celebrated not only the defense of their home, but also the remarkable contribution of the human who had risked his life for them. Even Vanya could no longer deny the truth. Elias's courage, intelligence, and adaptability were extraordinary. The next day, the trials turned inward, focusing on the personal bonds between the human and the princesses. King Thalor arranged a series of challenges designed to reveal character, empathy, and understanding. The first was the Garden of Memories, a place where holographic representations of past experiences appeared, testing the ability to learn from history and make moral choices. Elias walked through the garden with Lyra, and together they navigated illusions that challenged their sense of fairness, responsibility, and trust. Lyra began to see the depth of Elias's understanding, not just of tactics but of ethics and empathy. Celine's trial followed. It was a maze of shifting structures, requiring intellect, patience, and creativity to solve. Elias guided Celine through it, listening to her insights while offering his own unique perspective. The maze became a space of mutual respect, where human intuition and alien logic complemented each other. Vanya's trial, however, was the most difficult. She refused guidance, insisting that she must act independently. The challenge involved a delicate balance of precision and courage, transporting a fragile energy crystal across a precarious walkway suspended above the city. One wrong move could shatter the crystal and endanger the city below. Elias watched silently, understanding that Vanya needed to learn in her own way. When a sudden gust threatened the walkway, Elias acted instinctively, catching the crystal and stabilizing Vanya without intruding on her trial. For the first time, Vanya allowed herself to feel gratitude. She did not speak, but her eyes met his, acknowledging both his skill and his respect for her independence. The final trial was a test of unity. A large-scale simulation required all three princesses and Elias to work together, coordinating their strengths to solve problems under pressure. Obstacles required courage, intelligence, and creativity, and for the first time, Vanya began to cooperate willingly. The human's approach encouraged collaboration without diminishing her individuality. By the end of the trials, the princesses had seen the full measure of Elias's abilities. Lyra admired his daring and bravery, Celine his wisdom and intellect, and Vanya, though reluctant to admit it openly, recognized his honor and adaptability. The king observed quietly, pride evident in his expression. The daughters who had doubted, the decree now began to understand the value of forming bonds with humans, not through obligation, but through mutual respect and recognition of strengths. A week later, the city held a ceremonial gathering to celebrate the success of the trials and the growing alliance between humans and Zephora. Citizens lined the floating pathways, cheering and waving as Elias and the princesses appeared before them. The twins' moons reflected off the crystal towers, casting soft light over the crowd. King Thalor stepped forward, his voice strong and proud. Today we have witnessed courage, ingenuity, and unity. Humans have proven themselves worthy of our trust, not through force, but through action and honor. Let this day mark the beginning of a new era for Zephora. The princesses each approached Elias in turn. Lyra's smile was bright and genuine. "I am glad we met," she said simply. "You have shown courage and kindness." Celine's tone was softer, thoughtful. "You think differently from us, but that is why we need you. You teach us new ways to face challenges." Finally, Vanya stepped forward. Her expression was guarded, but her voice carried respect. "I doubted you at first," she admitted. "But you have proven that courage, intelligence, and respect are not limited by species. I see now that humans can be trusted allies, and more, if they are willing." Elias bowed slightly, his eyes meeting each princess with sincerity. "I am honored. My goal has never been to dominate or change your world, but to build trust and understanding. Together, we can achieve far more than alone." The crowd erupted in applause. Citizens cheered not only for the human who had saved their city, but also for the promise of unity between worlds. The political factions that had opposed the king's decree lost credibility, their doubts silenced by actions rather than words. As the ceremony ended and night fell, Elias stood with the princesses on a balcony overlooking the city. The twin moons cast their silver light across the floating towers, and the stars sparkled in the endless sky. For the first time, Vanya allowed herself a small smile. She had not fully accepted everything, but she could see a future where humans and Zephora could work together. King Thalor watched from his throne, a sense of relief and pride in his eyes. The trials had tested courage, intellect, and morality, and humans had proven themselves worthy of trust. More than that, the princesses had grown, learning that strength was not only in obedience or tradition, but in understanding, respect, and cooperation. Elias looked out over the city, feeling the weight of responsibility and the thrill of possibility. He had arrived as a visitor, but he had earned a place in the hearts of the people of Zephora. And though the road ahead would have challenges, political, intrigue, cultural differences, and the unknown dangers of the galaxy, he knew humans were built for overcoming the impossible. In that moment, the city of Zephora sparkled with hope. A human had come not to conquer or command, but to unite and inspire. And in doing so, he had proven the truth of the human spirit. Courage, intelligence, and compassion could bridge worlds, overcome doubt, and shape the future of civilizations. The twin moons reflected in the crystal towers, and the light of Zephora shone